Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Shape Your Truth podcast. I am your host, Dr. Kamika, and on this podcast, we talk about weight loss, self realization, and self development. In today's episode, we're riding solo one more time. Well, maybe a few more times because I want to get this down. I want to be able to communicate with you guys myself and be able to ask questions and answer questions myself before I bring on another guest. Now, we may have some guest call ins. We might do that today. But today, we're going to talk about three things. And the first one is going to be limited beliefs. And second, we're going to go into some non scale victories and a little bit about boundaries. All of these things came up this week, and I just wanted to explore them a little bit and give them a little bit of more thought and share that with you guys. And then I'm gonna maybe call some people I think to see their opinion. I'm gonna try to get some guys today to see some male perspective on these things we talk about. I mean, we talk to women a lot, but today I'm going to try to see if I can reach some guys on the phone and ask them a few questions about limited belief, non-scale victories, and boundaries. They have an opinion too, right? So we want to get their perspectives. So first off, we're going to talk about limited beliefs and introduce the topic. So limited beliefs are self-imposed constraints that hold us back from reaching our full potential. Okay, it says, well, explore those today. We're going to get into those today. So those things we put upon ourselves, those boxes we put ourselves into, and there's various reasons why we do this, but we're going to explore that today. And then next, we're going to go into our non-scale victories. We want to look at the progress we get when we started our wellness journey, our weight loss journey, and how we began with a scale. We have to have some starting point, but sometimes we get so caught up on the scale that we don't recognize that there are other victories besides what's going on, a number change on the scale. So we want to look at some of those things, and maybe we can, when we're feeling down about maybe the number hasn't changed in the direction we want it to, maybe we can remind ourselves of some victories other than the numbers we see on the scale. And then finally, we're going to examine the art of setting boundaries. And boundaries are really important. And we come back to this a lot in my mentorship group because they have to be reassessed a lot because you adjust to a new life or a new set of boundaries, and then some other things come up. So you have to reassess boundaries frequently. So we're going to talk about that again today and how these all three go together. Okay, so the importance of personal growth and well-being is really important with these three. It's very important to understand that our limited beliefs and those scale victories and the boundaries, they can all impede on how well we do on our personal growth and how it affects our well-being emotionally, especially emotionally, that the things we don't show inside, and that can push down any growth we can have or block us from being able to grow mentally and emotionally and even physically if we allow our emotions to stop us from moving around or going out or dealing with people. So we want to get into those things and understand why they're so important for our well-being and personal growth. So limiting beliefs, these are self-imposed constraints, like we said, that dictate what we think we can do. Okay, we decide that this is what I can do, and we decide if and when we're going to do more. Okay, they set us up to lower the bar for ourselves, in opposed to raising the bar or looking at that obstacle or thing that we don't think we can do as a challenge and try to push our way past it, get over it. We just give into the belief. And they often stem from past experience. A lot of times it's familial experiences, things that you haven't heard in your family, things, conversations, or conditioning that society brings on, and biases and these negative talks. And then you start to talk yourself negative. So you get negative self-talk. So it's a lot of noise going on in your mind telling you that what you can, dictating what you can and cannot do, what you're allowed to pursue. And it looks at opportunities or things that come up that could potentially be good for us. We look at them and say and identify them as challenges or something above us, and we stick with that belief. Okay, but we can change those narratives. You do not have to. If you want to, you can get out of that mindset. It's not easy as people say, just have a positive mindset. It will take a little practice and some work, some application, which is something you need to work on all the time. Like you may have to come back to the beginning and start again to get back on track and stop letting those negative things build up. Okay. And a lot of times, how we think negatively, it can go with hand in hand with depression and things of mental health issues. Like we said, it drains on you emotionally, mentally. So a lot of times when you're depressed, you have a lot of limiting beliefs, and it's like the opposite of always thinking you're the best or being arrogant about situation or being stuck up. It's a place of selfishness or a place of me, but on the opposite end, you're always thinking of you, and the negative. And I see that is kind of a mirror of depression. That's a lot of times that's how people look when they're depressed. They're lot dwelling on their situation. And I believe that limited beliefs, that's where some of it starts, with those limited beliefs, where you're dwelling on what's not good about you in a selfish manner, just as a person who was stuck up or conceited, or those things that people that think the world of themselves. You think the absolute least of yourself. So it's the mirror to that. Depressed kind of mood mirrors arrogance, maybe. The opposite, I guess. I'm just what I'm trying to say. They mimic an opposite, the complete opposite of what's going on, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna say. It's the opposite mimic of arrogance. Limited belief is you constantly saying you're not good, and then that arrogant attitude is constantly dwelling on, our conceited attitude is dwelling on how great you are all the time. Both a state of selfishness is how I view it. Okay, so that is really important when we're trying to do any kind of lifestyle change, especially when you're losing weight. A lot of times, people that grow up, they're overweight or they have any kind of health condition, they're constantly hearing about it all the time. They know about it. They're real educated on it. But people tend to want to give suggestions a lot on how to do a thing that this person who probably suffered from this a long time probably knows ins and out of it. But people like to give opinions, and sometimes the opinions are not helpful. They come off negative. And you do this to a small child, and they develop these limiting beliefs or in this negative self talk in their mind, and this affects them. It can start at weight. It can start at not being able to read well, not being able to play well with other kids. But we start the negative talk young. They hear these negative conversations, or even with handicap or disability or obesity, there's some biases that you are different and and a less than. So that's what they tell themselves in their mind. They probably will never say this outward, going even from a child or growing up to an adult. They may not ever say that what those people said affected them this way, and they may not, they keep it in, but that those thoughts are going through their mind, and it's crippling them from doing other things. It may not be everything, but there's some area when you have those beliefs that is stifling your growth. You can have selective times, like you can be very confident about one area, and then because of the limited beliefs that you developed all this time over childhood and things like that, you could start to have regression, or not developing in an area, or not progressing the way that everybody thinks you should, because you allow those limited beliefs to keep you keep your growth under submission, or keep it from growing to its potential. And And I keep going back to obesity because a lot of times when I think of limited beliefs that I develop around being overweight or being a little chubby kid was from conversations I heard from adults or conversation I heard from my grandma or my aunts. Now these people love me, but they said some things that probably that have shaped my mind for the rest of my life. So I was a twin, and my twin passed away when we were babies. And my grandma used to say that I ate all the food from the other baby. So that's why she died. And she might have been kidding, and it might have been playful thing. And I never like really cried about it or said anything to grandma about it. But that thing stuck with me all the way till now. And I have the thought in my mind, the back of my mind. I know it's not logical, but I think maybe did I kill my sister? Did I kill the twin? And that's irrational, right? But those little seeds, that's what starts it. It's rational, but it sits in the back of my mind still. Something I heard from like 4, 5 in elementary school. She didn't constantly say it all the time, but when I was really little, that's what she used to say. And that kind of like shapes my thoughts to now and how I look at um, how I go about protecting my siblings. I think it affected a lot of things. I'm so vested in their lives when they're not my kids, but that's how it felt like I had to, protect them. Like their mistake was my mistake. And I think it kind of stemmed from that, me trying to protect them from losing all the food. uh, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm a pharmacist, but I'm just thinking about those things, going back over traumas to get to know myself a little better. And I remember I'm being asked by one uh, Dr. Walker one time. He does this thing where he asks people, "What does your name mean?" And I told him about that story about my grandma, and he was the first to ever say to me, "How did that affect you? How did that make you feel?" And I honestly had not said and thought about it until that time. And that's just one of the little pieces that I didn't even think was so serious that it affected me well into adulthood. So limited beliefs, man, they can be overcome. So you always talking about the difference. You just incapable, you unworthy, you're not worth it to be in this position. Your worth is down. You're not the best. Somebody else is better. All of those things that you tell yourself, that why you can't be successful or why you can't achieve a goal is because you decided that you are not good enough, or whatever it is about you is not the standard, is bad, is thought of in a negative light. Okay? And so some examples of those is, like I said, I'm not good enough, or having that fixed mindset of I can't change, or success is for him, that's not for me. You don't know where I came from. That's not for us. We don't do that. That type of limited belief that you put a people place upon themselves. And like I said, they can be very impactful to how we grow. Uh, the most influential people that do this, like I said, is like my grandmother or your parents, someone close to you, or someone in your education whose opinion really meant a lot. They kind of shape these limited beliefs and shape your mind around it. And then like the societal and cultural norms, like we talk about obesity and learning disabilities, and just how we look at people from being different, can they maximize those limited beliefs, and then our past failures and setbacks. You decide that, look, I failed that this time, and I just fail. I can't get it. I'm not gonna ever get it. I just fail at that, and I'm no good at that. And you just decided you're not even going to try, and that's because you had that failure or setback, or maybe you did on your diet. You've been going good, 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 and then you changed your lifestyle. You did everything you had, and then you go and eat something that you feel, or or you decided that was not good for you. And when you eat it, you have this tremendous amount of guilt, And instead of just saying, I can get past this, or it was just a setback, you just give up completely. And the same can be said with somebody breaking a habit like smoking. I've been smoking for 40 years. Oh, this gum isn't working. This patch isn't working. I might as well just go get a cigarette. And then you get a cigarette. And then, well, that's it. I couldn't quit. So you had a setback, but you couldn't quit. Now back to square one. So those are examples of that. Okay. Yeah. And then they, like we said, we can impact your growth. So that's personal and professional. It messes with your self confidence and how you feel about yourself. So this is one of the components of our show about um, self awareness and self realization of knowing who exactly you are. These kind of limited beliefs keep telling you who you're not, so you don't remember who you are. You forget who you are, and sometimes we really gotta do remind ourselves and tell those limited beliefs that our mind is telling us to just shut up and stop the noise and remind yourself of exactly who you are. And then in your professional life, it makes you not want to go for that job or not go back to school or just not try to do whatever it takes to get that certification you need to get to the next level. You just feel like, well, this is good enough. I will never be good at that. Well, how am I going to do that? I have all these other life circumstances, or I have other these limitations. How I don't have the support. How I'm going to go back to school. These are the kind of things that affect our personal and professional growth, and how sometimes it prevents us to get to that next level in our career. So let's get past this stuff, right? We don't want to be over here thinking bad of ourselves intentionally, do we? No, we don't want to. What would you tell your child? Keep thinking bad on yourself. No, you would never say that. Would you tell a friend who's telling you all about the sadness and that and how bad they are and they're no good? Would you say, yeah, you're just no good? No, you wouldn't do that. So do the same for yourself. Give yourself that same compassion that you would give a friend or a colleague that was down on himself about something. You wouldn't join in and say, yeah, you pretty much suck at everything. You wouldn't do that. You would try to encourage them, try to bring them to the light, try to see what they do well. Um, so give yourself that same compassion. Tell yourself what you do well. And you can do that by um, journaling too, can remind you. You can journal every day about your day and what went well, and if it was a setback, and how you can get better at that the next time. And then when you read it later, it can be a little bit of encouragement. But realizing that those negative things don't define you, um, and they don't have to make your life a certain way. They're not the end of you. Okay, so do that by being aware of who you are, and journaling can help you go back and take a look after. And cognitive reconditioning, yes, like I said, challenge those negative thoughts, yeah, or those negative beliefs, those limited beliefs. See, is there any truth to them first? See if it's true, even true, what you're telling yourself. Yeah, I'm ugly, I'm not capable. Are you really ugly? Are you really not capable? Is that really a true statement? Are you really worthless? Is there nothing good that you do? Oh, I'm not attracted to anybody. Are you sure? Because I've noticed that somebody has been attracted to you at some point, and you got to just take out a paper and maybe just write down every negative thing you tell yourself, and just write the opposite of it. And now it may seem stupid that this don't work. Why am I doing this? This is elementary. Yeah. And a lot of this stuff started in elementary. So we're getting back to the basics. And when you do this, you are tricking your mind a little bit every time to believe. But people give up. That's what happens. They do it one time and that's it. So you say this don't work. Another limited belief. You don't do it enough for it to make a change. You say this is stupid. This is young. This is not something that adult would do. just say the opposite. That doesn't work. No, no, you just opposite does not work. No, but you start working toward that opposite. That's what works. You're telling yourself you can do it. That's what works. Not that magically you're gonna be that opposite. Okay, so and then lastly, I seek professional help. All of these things can be helpful, but if you are still struggling, you are doing the work and you're still struggling, do not give up. Seek professional help. Get some help from some professional, not just a family member, not just your friend. It's beyond. If it goes beyond that, it's just not getting better. Seek professional help. Don't be ashamed to get help for yourself. Show yourself that much compassion. Like I said, you wouldn't leave your child hurt down with a broken leg. So don't leave yourself that way. Go get some help for your broken leg, your broken wing, so that you can fly. You might need get engaged in some therapy, engage in some group sessions, get into a community of people who can bring you up. Okay, and no, you can develop some strategies to help you change that mindset. And sometimes you can't do that alone. Okay, so get some help. Okay, so now in segment two, we're going to move right on to segment two. And in segment two, we're talking about non-scale victories. So our limited beliefs impact our weight loss, as we just said too. And sometimes those limited beliefs carry over to what we see on the scale. And so when we weigh in, sometimes it can either make us feel great, or sometimes it can crush us. It can make our day absolutely terrible. It brings us down to the pit of despair. And we need to be able to recognize victories past the scale. Okay. Now it's great when you have a scale victory, celebrate those, but also celebrate those non-scale victories. And what could a non-scale victory be? A non-scale victory could be as simple as today I can say I meal prep 5 days in a row. I'm being consistent. A non-scale victory could be how you doing and make changing a behavior, changing a habit, how you doing the opposite of what you used to do. That could be a non-scale victory when you're being consistent and you're even when you have a setback and you come back. That is a non-scale victory when you're not doing what you used to do. You're doing something different. That could be a non-scale victory for you. Also, the fact that you journaled every day, that you did some self-care for yourself, that you set a goal that was beyond the weight loss that you were able to accomplish because you're doing the work on yourself. You're getting well, not just losing weight. And that's what you need to see the biggest point, the bigger point. When you are on a weight loss journey, it shouldn't be just about your weight, because those weight victories will not always bring you joy and happiness. Matter of fact, those are fleeting things. So if you have all this chaos going on in your life and you don't fix it, you got a mess over here and a mess over there, and you're trying to stay clean in this little area. Sooner or later, that mess is going to enclose upon on your little clean space, because it has nowhere. It's growing and growing and growing, so it's going to take over the good space that you have. So you have a lot of chaos, order, you got things going on you haven't dealt with and you haven't put into place. It's going to impede upon your weight loss as well. So putting things in order in your life could be a non-scale victory. Okay. And then even being able to sleep better could be a non-scale victory. Um, Being able to walk further than you used to, run further, jump longer, lift more, do more calisthenics, roll farther, you know, play with the kids a longer amount of time, dance for an hour, go out dancing and you didn't have to sit down. You were able to stay up the whole time and dance like you wanted to. Go swimming and not be ashamed of your to wear your bathing suit. those are non-scale victories, okay? And you having more energy just to get around, being able to get around better, being able to go out more, or feeling the desire to go out more. Those are non-scale victories. And how you going to recognize them? Write them down. Write those victories down, because you will forget. You'll see a number change on that scale, and you'll say you try to throw everything out the window. But if you have it written down, all those good things that you do, you keep in a record, you can go back and look back at it and say, you know what? I did this, I did that, I did that, I did this, I did that. And okay, the scale didn't change this time, or the scale went up a little bit, but I still was victorious in all these other areas. And you know how I know? Because I have proof. I wrote it down. And I'll share with your community, your support group, your coach, your nutritionist, your doctor. You let it be known. Tell other people so they can celebrate with you. Okay, that is another victory. Being able to be open and honest and straightforward about what's going on with your weight and not being ashamed. Okay, that is another victory. So you will tell other people, allows them to celebrate with you. And then they're a testament to what was going on. They can say, yes, she did that, and it'll be your cheering corner. Okay, so that is what's going to talk about with that. Did we define non-scale victories? I don't know if I said that. I just said a generalization. It's achievements in your health and wellness journey that are not related to weight loss or the number on the scale. The importance is that non-scale victories are crucial because they highlight holistic progress, your whole well-being. It keeps you motivated, it keeps your energy high, and it promotes positive relationship with your body beyond what you see on the scale, beyond your weight. Okay, and yeah, so keep your eyes open for non-scale victory. Sometimes our mind is closed to those things. We put ourselves down with so much limited belief. We don't even recognize when something is good. But be intentional in being aware of what was a change. Don't just brush it off. Oh yeah, that's no. It every victory counts. Every W, a W is a W, and count it, list it, because those times when you need to hear it, you need to see it, it'll be there. It'll be a record. It'll be true to you because you know it happened. You wrote it down. So yeah, that is what we're going to talk about with the non-scale victories. And then we're going to move on to segment 3. And it's about boundaries. And this week, funny thing, boundaries kept coming up. I came up with the girls I teach. One of the girls I mentor, one of them, she's having an issue with the teacher at school about the being able to run, being able to jump and everything, doing the things with the other kids. So my question is to moms or teacher, when is the teacher outside of her boundaries when talking to the child about her weight or her physical appearance, and when what boundaries should we set for people who are here as agents to help us raise our children? Basically, what boundaries should we set, or what should we allow to be said to our children when it comes to those things that could be forever traumatic? What boundaries should we set there? Now that's the question. I don't know how to say that. You always want your kids to be respectful, but sometimes there's so much bias and disdain and like disgust for certain conditions that I'm not sure if we should have uh any leeway with these people. These people may have to be completely blocked out the life or moved to another class, because some of these teachers are, and doctors too, overstepping their boundaries when it comes to the kids and causing some more emotional distress than help. So I just want to think about that. I think that may be a question I might ask. So there are some different type of boundaries, but first we're going to give you the definition. We're going to talk about personal boundaries. So personal boundaries are limits and rules we set for ourselves within our relationships and interactions. They define what we are comfortable with, and how we expect others to behave toward us. Boundaries help protect our personal space, energy, and well being. So, this is all going back to well being, the whole person. So, yeah, sometimes we got to set some boundaries so that we can get some stuff done. And so we can eliminate the riffraff, and that could be uh, uh, in our schedule. That can be in how we allow people to talk to us, allow how we allow people to approach us, what we allow people to um, present us with, or try to add to our plate. What we have to let people know that we are prioritizing, so that they know their place when it comes to that certain situation. Yeah, so those are the type of boundaries. You have physical boundaries that pertain to your personal space and touch. Like, look, I don't need anybody in this space. Either you're jumping up to harm me, or you're trying to do some other kind of harm me, and both of them are not okay. So being in your space where you are not comfortable, and that could be relative to other people. So like some people may prefer to handshake than to give hugs. Some people may prefer to fist bump than to give handshakes. So it's what you are comfortable with. Some people don't feel comfortable sitting next to um men or having conversations with people. Husband, it's just the boundaries you set for yourself and with other people in your physical space. And then there's emotional boundaries that involves your feelings and emotional well-being, how you allow people to treat you. Okay, not if you don't want to share your personal thoughts, your personal business. You don't want to share your business. Don't your personal feelings, how you feel on something. You don't have to. Sometimes it's good to the right people, but you don't have to share your information with anyone if it makes you uncomfortable. Okay, and if that protects your emotional well-being. Okay, so and there's time boundaries. These are the ones that get trampled on a lot. These involve how you manage your time and priorities, how much you allocate toward work and personal time, and not checking emails, not being on your phone for business, not um, seeing what's going on with a project, calling in to see, and you're off the clock, all of that. That is the time boundaries that when we step out of those time, that we set the parameters. This is our work, 8 to 8, and then you got your family time 8 to 8. You got to stick to that, or it's going to impede upon your family time. And the way I think this really helps a lot with your time is having a plan and saying your non-negotiables, and you don't budge on those for anybody. Your non-negotiables, what you have to do within your own household, they have to come first, and that includes health, your exercise, how you spend your money, all of that can play a part of into your non-negotiables. But in aspects of time, if you plan something and you allocated extra time or that for whatever you need to do, and then you still don't have extra time to go to another activity or to allow anything to get into your schedule because it's going to affect something else, then you have to learn how to say no to those things. And I'm learning to do that with my essentialism journey, just doing the things that are essential for me and not just my spending, but in my life. Not taking on any extra things that may not necessarily be the best at doing and providing the best service to what's going on, or there and then there's no interest for me to do it, and I don't have to volunteer to help with everything, and I don't have to say yes to everything that's presented um, in respect of my time and some other things I need to improve in my life, like and to make well in my life. So in the mental boundaries, when people question you or people stomp on your beliefs, where they say, "Oh, that's stupid. You believe that way? How could you believe that way?" And your beliefs are your beliefs. This is how you believe things. Your values are your values. We hope that they are respectful and good and kind and values that don't demean or hurt anyone. But your values are your values, and you should stand on it. You got to value your own opinion. You can't have just let everybody give you your opinion. It's okay for you to have your own opinion. So even in an argument, a debate, but you respectfully disagree with somebody's opinion or on a certain subject, and that's okay. You don't have to have hard feelings, but you know this is how you believe. It's okay to take a stance on that. And then, like we went into with the finance and material boundary, this one is really hard for myself. I struggle with this. This is my essentialism uh, years about no buying. And I've been very good since January, very, very good. I had a setback last month. My aunt sent me to Home Goods. I don't know what they did that for, to torture me, but I had a Kamika moment at the Home Goods. And so I had one setback since January. I'm still proud of myself for that. And I started again. Well, I'm okay. I'm back to no shopping. And the craziest thing about it is that I hate to even admit that it felt really good, but I know that it's something I don't need to do. I need a habit I need to break. And so that is what really I'm trying to work on. Yeah. So there is a confession. So you have boundaries about what you spend for yourself, and you have boundaries about what you give to other people. And if you can't afford to do a certain thing or help a certain way, then you set those boundaries and prioritize those boundaries for yourself. And it's something you should not have to apologize about. Yeah. Setting and maintaining personal boundaries is essential for protecting your physical, emotional, and mental well being. Boundaries foster healthy relationships by promoting mutual respect and understanding. They boost your self esteem and confidence by affirming your worth and needs. And they encourage personal responsibility by helping individuals manage their own needs without overstepping limits. Okay. Boundaries also prevent resentment, stress, and personal it supports your personal growth. That's what I should say. And improve communication skills. You learn how to um, verbalize what you don't like. And sometimes it's hard to do that. It's hard to tell people the bad news, okay? That you're not going to be able to perform in this manner anymore. So, overall, boundaries create balance, healthy life, allowing you to focus on what truly matters and pursue your aspirations. Now, here's some signs of healthy versus unhealthy boundaries. Signs of healthy boundaries. Clearly communicating what you need to express. You express your needs and limits openly and assertively. Respect for self and others. You respect your own values while also respecting others. Balance in relationship. Your relationships are reciprocal with mutual give and take. Comfort with saying no. This is the hardest one for me. You can decline requests without guilt or fear. And personal responsibility. You take responsibility for your own actions and emotions. And one we forgot to mention, I didn't say earlier, was self care. You have to prioritize your well being and ensure you have time for rest and personal interests. Now, some unhealthy boundaries would be difficulty saying no. Just fear people will reject you. People pleasing. You prioritize other people's needs above your own. Over involvement. You just getting in, volunteering to get to something that don't even concern you, that you're not even good at, that you don't even like, but you just getting in there making some stuff that's not even your job, your responsibility. And lack of privacy. You share too much. I've been guilty of this too. You share too much. So people look at you differently. And then you allow them to get too much into your information. So they can disrespect you on some levels or overstep on or feel too entitled on some levels because you shared so much with them. Okay. Feelings of resentment. You feel taken advantage of because you've done so much and you've been disrespected, I guess. You've done so much for them and you've been disrespected, but you struggle to voice it. You don't say nothing. Okay. So, and you neglect your self care. And I feel like moms do this the most. They just run, more, do one more thing. Let me pick up this, let me do that. Oh, your fat plate is full to the max, and you'll still say, I'll help you pick up your child from the school. You just volunteered that and you're full to the max. You haven't even sat down. You haven't had time to even take a breath or stretch or breathe or drink a water or go to the bathroom, and you still taking on more things. Moms, please, you got to stop that. Okay. So healthy boundaries foster balance, respect in relationships, and personal well-being, while unhealthy boundaries can lead to stress and resentment and compromise self-worth. So now I have some books I might share with you guys in a little bit on some limited belief. There's a couple of books I can share on or things you might want to read on limited belief. Um, it's one book called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success by Carol S. Dweck, and a one uh, and one article that you might want to read or a blog you want to read on non-scale victories. There's an article on non-scale victories and their importance on Healthline. Boundaries, there's a journal from on setting boundaries and finding peace, a guide to reclaiming yourself by Nidra Glover Tawab. Okay. Okay, so you got some execution tips here too that I looked up, and they have some engage with personal stories. Share your own stories. Share your get more comfortable saying it. The more you say it, the more it comes to your mind, the more you're able to focus and make mental adjustments and call yourself out on your stuff. You can get some expert opinion, get some psychologists, therapists, wellness coach, health coach, and interactive elements. You encourage yourself to participate in communities, be able to answer questions about how you feel, and be able to state what it is that's going on, and have those good communicating skills about what you need when you interact with people. Have those good interactions and being able to converse in those interactions. And then you can look into some of those books, those journals, blogs, and different things to just stay up to date on what's current in on scale victories, limited beliefs, and boundaries. Okay, so now we're gonna call somebody. Let's see if we can get. I'm thinking I'm gonna call some boys today and see if we can get them on the line. Let me see. Who can we call? Let's see. Let's see. Let me call this sailor I know. Let's see what he's talking about. Hmm.
Hello.
Hey, this is Dr. Kamika calling you from Shape Your Truth podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. My name is Dr. Anthony.
And I want to ask you some questions. We need to get a male's perspective. We get a lot of women on here, but we want to ask you some questions. Today, our segment, we have three segments today. One on limited belief, one on non-scale victories, and one on boundaries. And I want to see your take on a couple of those I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about something from all of those segments. Okay. So the first one I wanted to ask you was, what are some common non-scale victories that you've experienced during your wellness or weight loss journey or health journey?
Repeat the question one more time.
What are some non-scale victories that you've experienced during your weight loss or health journey? Something that wasn't about what you saw on the scale.
Um, some of the victories for me would be as you begin to like put your clothes on, you're moving around a little bit better. You find yourself not feeling winded when you tie your shoes, or if you have to take the stairs or have to walk a little bit further. Uh, the recovery of those things is a little bit better, not as winded when you're doing certain things. So you start to see different changes. Small things like close friends, they kind of, hey man, what you been up to? Kind of seem like you losing weight a little bit, the people that's kind of a little bit close to you. And as you continue on that journey, you begin to feel your clothes is loosening up. So you gradually, you know, you continue those things. I give you a little, people noticing a little bit better, and it kind of fuel you to keep going. So, uh,
Hello? Hello? Did we lose you? I think we lost you. Hello? I'm
I'm
going
here.
to. Okay. So we thought we lost you. Okay. So, yeah, that's good about your friends noticing that you lost weight and everything. That is always an encouragement when you got your cheering section. But how about some things like practical things like uh, your energy or your how well you sleep? Do you think on those things? Do you ever does that come to your mind? I think sometimes people forget about those type of victories as well.
yeah, you tend to notice that a little bit. I sometimes you may be feeling a little bit less in your knees and your joints. Because in my line of work, I stand a lot, so as they just say, I get to moving around and my energy level picks up. Don't really feel the need to have that coffee or any type of energy drink. So I guess you say some noticeable changes. Tend to pop to your feet a little bit faster, instead of hitting that snooze button for the second time or third time or so, then finally getting up. So yeah, uh, I have noticed those changes through some of my journey as I've gone up and down over the years. Yep.
How can shifting your focus on that number help you in the long run?
Hello, you still with me?
Yep, I'm with you. How can not reflecting on those numbers help you in your overall well length of your journey, your overall well being, and how you look at things? Hello.
I
Mm-hmm.
feel I feel the numbers are cool. You know, if you're always looking at those numbers, on a scale, then I don't think as you begin to, work out and do things, you build muscle. So it tends to manipulate the scale a bit. I try to put more focus on different numbers, and that's more so the caloric intake. So make sure I get my output up, and then some deficit on you reduce my intake, and I focus more so on those numbers and the numbers that, okay, well, at this point, I was only able to do, this sustained run for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm up to 25 minutes, but my mileage, I'm doing more miles at this time. So I look more so towards those numbers in terms of gauging fitness level. And again, the clothes don't lie. That's what's going to show first. So um, but yeah,
Why is it important
that's
to?
all I have here.
Okay. Well, why is it important to celebrate? Why is it important to celebrate small wins along the way?
Why would it be important to celebrate those things?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't get to those under um, overnight. So little bit by little bit, you build yourself. It's a safety thing. It's also you reassuring yourself. It's you change. It's a mindset. You constantly, just recharging and I guess you could say reaching for something deeper. You know what I'm saying? So you have to commit it to the mind also, and that's one of a good technique to do to kind of give yourself some grace, some praise to, stick with it. Like I say, and then one of the good things about that too, especially having a little workout buddy, you guys can feed off each other and also keep each other charged. So yeah, so set those goals and you reach those goals. And, you set a goal for yourself and you reach that goal. It just it releases some feel good vibes on the inside. So
Okay. Well, thank you for answering those questions on scale victories. Now we start talking
Can't
about.
hear you. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Okay. I said, thank you for answering those questions on the non-scale victories. Now we had some questions on limited belief. We talked about like rewriting your story. You start off sometimes stuff growing up, and it just sticks with you, and it shapes how you look at things. And we're trying to address how we can overcome those things. So, what are some common limited beliefs that you feel like hold people back?
Uh, um, I think a lot of people are afraid to um, get outside of their comfort zone. We try to control the narrative of everything sometimes. And sometimes you just have to, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot. And a lot of people have a fear of failing. But if you don't ever try, then you won't reach or accomplish anything that's new or something different. You won't know what you're actually good at or what you can handle if you don't try those things. So um, sometimes you have people that tell you, "Oh no, you're not gonna be able to do that." I've tried that before, or they'll tell somebody else's story, but hey, that's not your story. You have to, find out what it is that you want to do, learn how to do it, and then start getting it done. But if you never take those steps to, you know, do what you say you're going to do, and have that determination and a mindset to do that, and center yourself around those people that have the like-minded mindset, then it's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's a saying that nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. You can dream about it all day, but if you don't put any action to it, then you're not going to get anywhere. So I would say people have a fear of getting out of their comfort zone. So
Oh, that's true. That is really, really, very, very true. So I got one last question for you, and then we go wrap this up. Okay, it's gonna be about boundaries, maybe two. Okay. Um, People have a real hard time in setting boundaries. Um, how do you set boundaries in your professional life and versus your personal life?
um, I believe you just have to um, be straightforward. Just let people know, those that need to know that what you're, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what I have to do. You have to actually block out time and plan time to do those things. Whether it be, all right, you can put boundaries on yourself, like shut your phone down for a while, whether it's reading a book, executing certain tasks, and then, you know, um, pick the phone back up, or throughout the day, log off some of those applications that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of put yourself in a position to focus. And, that's some of the boundaries that, I said to try to stay focused. I communicate with those that I have to communicate with that's close to me, and then those other people, then I'll get back at them. Sometimes you can set even your voicemail up if you want to feel like you want to be rude to anyone. Hey, and kind of let them know where you are with things and during that time of the day. So yeah, it's important to set the boundaries, or you won't execute anything at all. So I'm sure you have another part of the question. If I answer your question.
No, you answered it. But another thing part I could go into was how are you with when you address your boundaries being violated or disrespected?
Um, Again, you just have to be an adult about it, mature about it. Have a talk with that person, sit down with that person. Just ask them, just explain it, and you don't have to go into details if it's something to that degree. But you just, it's about being an adult, being mature about it, and just having that conversation if they are a person that needs to know. But yeah, other than that, you just continue to move forward, have laser focused in on what you have to do. Because you don't get the time back. Time's gonna keep on rolling. So you sit there stagnant, things will pass you by. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, so planning, like I say, planning ahead on things, block out certain time with things. Just takes is renewing your mind that gets you there. Renewing your mind will get you there. Yeah, I've often asked some people sometimes if you're able to do this because you have a certain amount of money in front of you, how come you can't put that same focus and energy in to do it without that there? Because down the line, you will be able to get that pot of money for yourself and without someone just handing it to you. But again, people want the easy route. They want to work hard for it. Yeah, they should be more likely to take care of it if they work hard for it. So,
I totally agree with that statement.
no.
Yeah, I totally agree with that statement. That was a good one. So do you ever feel guilty or feel fear of conflict when you're gonna tell these people this stuff?
Initially, but once you condition to yourself and your mind to have those type of conversations, it gets easier and easier, and then you that's just a way of doing things. So
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to have that conversation in the beginning that I found out than you have chaos later on. Or so I tend to do that now. I'll have that hard conversation in the beginning, so it'll save a lot of heartache and pain later on, or confusion, or anything you might have to apologize for. So, but when you're working at your goals and things that you want for yourself, as long as there's not any harm to anybody else, you don't have to be apologetic for that. You
Mm-hmm.
just you don't want to be offensive, but you just have to go for it.
Yeah.
Go for what you go for those goals, and always revisit, revisit.
Okay.
Like for me, I may do a work list at the start of a day, and when I get to the end of the day, I'll see what things that has got done on that to do list, and if I don't have all the complete list done, I'll roll it over to the next day, and that'll be the first thing I want to execute. I believe in my line of work, you take care of your dailies, so your weeklies don't pile up. You take care of your weekly things, so your monthlies don't pile up. You take care of your monthly things, so your quarterly things don't pile up, and so on and so forth. So, yep, and always, always, always constantly have something working. If not, and they say standing still is going backwards.
Uh, Most definitely. So I talked a I talked a lot today about defining these things. So our next time, I want to I'm going to have a Q&A next time. We might do a brief overview. I want to invite you back. And I'm trying to get a male's perspective, bring another male, and we'll go through these are some other type of questions like this, just to get a male perspective, because we've been hearing from the ladies quite a lot. Okay? Well, and I thank you for taking the call.
No problem. This is very, very fun for me as well. You got me thinking a little bit. I appreciate it.
All right. You
All
have
right.
a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
All right. We had somebody answer. That was Sailor Jerry. That was a sailor I know, a seaman I know. And he's very military, straight Navy dude. So very by the line. But the principles he said, that's just natural with something that has a lot of order. You see, order counts. Um, but we can apply those things to every area in our life. How great would that be? And we can use these things, how we think about things, how we prioritize things, how we use our time and skills effectively, how we look at ourselves and treat ourselves. If we could apply that to every area in our life, not just some, what how much happier, how much fulfilled, how much more could we do for people and do for the world and just be a better person? But when we have all this chaos and unorganized and thinking all these negative things and taking in all these negative things, it's very, very, very hard to be your best self. So keep working at it. It won't come overnight. May have some setbacks. You may have some slip ups. You may have something unexpected happen, but keep working at it. Keep working at it every day. And in your weight loss journey, with your self awareness and self realization and self confidence, build up yourself, all the selves, having some self care, and also with your self development, growing yourself, because you are a whole person. You're not just one thing. All right, so this is the end, and we are reading. I got another book that was not really a book, it's a trainer. I'm doing this warrior and training playbook, right? Winter webinar playbook. Try to learn how to do webinars better. So this is what I've been reading this week. So, and it's by Brian Delaney and Stephanie Delaney. It's a husband and wife team, and they teach people how to do webinars. Make them a little more watch worthy, or people want to see them, or more interesting for people, and doing them the right way. So that's what I'm learning about in this book. So we are going to do another solo next week, guys. We're going to keep doing this. And like I said, we might revisit these topics. I want to get some more male perspective and maybe fine tune, get straight to the point on what we were talking about with limited beliefs and non-scale victories and boundaries. Boundaries kept coming up this week. And sometimes you do need to have conversations because people get the wrong idea or wrong notion of who is setting the boundary. Sometimes you gotta communicate with people. You think they're setting a boundary and they're not, and they think you're doing something intentional and they're not. Just a lot of misunderstanding. So communication is very, very important when you're doing any boundary setting, guys. Just want to remind you of that. It was a big issue this week. So take care. Good night. See you next week.